PGM market is forecast to grow at a sizable compound annual growth rate of 4.5% between now and 2030, when it is expected to approach US $20.2 billion in size. The broader fundamentals of the PGM market, including palladium's use in the clean energy transition, the rarity of the metal and how difficult it is to substitute, indicate that at current prices there remains significant upside, with market fundamentals suggesting that current PGM prices are lower than they should be. Investors are keen to explore opportunities in the sector. The market for PGMs has for many years been dominated by South Africa and Russia, with the conflict between Russia and Ukraine increasing the appeal of South African sources of supply. According to highly regarded equity research analyst, geologist and fund manager Dr. Chris Baker, many of the major miners with a PGM focus concede that deep drilling is financially unviable, meaning that capital investment in the sector will likely focus on projects that host shallow, high-grade exposure to PGMs, particularly in South Africa.
Moreover, for the big guys, they will stop spending on deep shafts. There's nothing more certain about that. They'll be very constrained about their development, particularly the deep development. But that doesn't mean they won't be looking out for opportunities. And we think that Bengwenyama, Southern Palladium, has the opportunity to present low-cost PGM ounces because it's shallow, as we can discuss later. This is a very high-quality project.
This has recently directed attention towards Southern Palladium, a company dual-listed on the ASX and JSE that holds a top-tier PGM asset in the world-class Bushveld complex, South Africa. Southern Palladium's Bengwenyama project presents a unique opportunity for investors and continues to deliver on its stated development strategy since its IPO back in June 2022.
If we look back a couple of years ago at the Southern Palladium prospectus, management stated that they would lodge their mining right application and complete a PFS within 2 years of listing. And that's what the $20 million, $19 million was designed to do. Unlike some of its peers, it's been a pretty tough time for some companies. It's been hard to get technical expertise to get these things done. Southern Palladium has achieved exactly what it said it's done, with most of the work having been done in 2023. The start of drilling was slow. They needed to get the full buy-in from the local community, and they've done that, and off they went, and they've been off to the races with drilling, doing very, very well. Up until the end of September, they'd done nearly 20,000 metres of drilling, 40 intercepts of the key reef, the UG2 reef, and that's enough to get at least, certainly much more than 2 million ounces of the 25 million ounces of total resources into indicated status. That's important to be able to publish scoping and pre-feasibility studies. And that resource update is due out at the end of this month, so within the next week or two or so. It's sitting on the edge of the eastern limb of the Bushveld intrusive complex. It's one of the very, very uncommon, rare occurrences of almost outcropping UG2 mineralisation. So again, it'll be low capital to develop. We know it's high grade. We know there's in total with Merensky and UG2 25 million ounces. So it's quite a sizable deposit. And we think the project is very well positioned there. So if the big miners, whether they're present on the eastern limb or not, are looking for cheap ounces to develop, we think that Southern Palladium is in the box seat there.
According to Dr. Baker, Bengwenyama's location in the heart of the Bushveld complex provides exceptional benefits, particularly as the project moves from exploration towards mine development, and has a critical point of difference as a high-grade PGM project.
These guys are very well positioned. The eastern limb is sort of the newcomer to the platinum sector. It's been actively mined for the last 20, 25 years compared to the old western limb, which has been around for 100 years. And that's becoming a very mature part of the Bushveld. The eastern limb, there's about 5 mines on the eastern limb over about 120 kilometres of platinum group metal bearing reef. And the Bengwenyama project, Southern Palladium's project, they own 70% of this, are surrounded by 5 Tier 1 projects, extracting mainly from the same reef that Bengwenyama is looking at. But again, because reserves are starting to dwindle, they're starting to move to the upper reef. It's a lower grade reef, typically on the eastern limb, called the Merensky. But the UG2 has been the fundamental source of reserves, and this is what Bengwenyama is exploring, and exploring successfully. So it won't surprise me for them to have ultimately delivered something in the order of 10 or more million ounces of UG2, and as I said, these are quite shallow ounces. Most of the current resource at the moment is at depths of less than 500 metres. So deep by Australian standards, but very definitely shallow by South African standards. So, this is a very well-positioned project in every respect. And just to stress that the bulk of these 25 million ounces occurs at depths of less than 500 metres. And by Bushveld standards, these are shallow ounces.
A key catalyst for Southern Palladium was the mining right application. Dr. Baker believes a number of milestones will be achieved in Q1 2024.
These are two very important milestones to be achieved. Scoping study will come out, as I said, in January, and then in fairly short order, I would say by Easter time next year, we'll see the pre-feasibility study. All that means is that these studies, the mining studies, the environmental studies, social studies, and so on, are well advanced. So to move from scoping to pre-feasibility study should come fairly quickly. So that's a great sign. They've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. What's required for the mining right application to be granted will be full mining study and that pre-feasibility study, not a definitive feasibility study, but pre-feasibility. Again, I suspect there'll be little difference between the two, and making sure that there are no environmental hurdles to cross, nor any social hurdles to cross. At the moment, they're bringing their indicated resources up to something north of 2 million ounces, 2 to 3 million ounces. They've already nearly got 2 million ounces, I might add. That will allow them to publish the results of the studies. And that's an important moment because at that point, they can go and start talking to financiers, whether they might be cornerstone investors, whether they're bankers, private equity, that sort of thing. Be able to put those numbers on the table and just say, look, here we are. This is what it looks like at spot PGM prices. What do we need to get this banked? What sort of prices do we need to? Obviously, it's not as easy a banking proposition as it would have been 2 years ago, but equally, this will be a very low-cost project, and I believe that even at current metal prices, it will be viable. Bankable, but certainly viable.
With Southern Palladium's market cap representing good value at current prices and a busy period of activity approaching for the company, there could be an exciting opportunity for investors to gain exposure to an oversold sector of the market.